Welcome once again to Gene Ho. And Gene, it's getting warm both sides of the Atlantic. Well, not so much in Britain, but tell me something. You're in the middle where it gets very hot.
Yes,
And
yes. I live in a place called Hot Springs in Arkansas, and it is beautiful here. It is God's country. Now it does get pretty warm in the summertime, but it's I'm kind of used to it, and we have all four seasons here, which is very rare to hit it perfectly to get just enough winter so that you don't get sick of it. It's good.
that's a good idea. When you say you get hot, what's your Fahrenheit? You're still in Fahrenheit, aren't you? But
Okay, probably at the highs. Of course, it's probably like 95 degrees in the heat of the summer.
yeah,
Now, 3 years ago, we had a very bad drought here, and a lot of the grass burned up. A lot of the farmers were selling off their livestock because they didn't want. There was no way to really feed them. So
golly.
then the smaller farmers got a chance to kind of benefit because they bought a lot of the cattle and the cows on a discount. And pretty much that's how we got started with our farm. Our first cow that we got, we paid $200 for it because they were just almost giving them away. I
Golly.
don't even know how they transported it for that price. So,
Yeah, yeah. It's rumored that America was half the size. I think we mentioned it last week, but on a geographic basis, nothing happened, did it, south of North America until they got air conditioned. And suddenly everything opened up. Is that true?
I don't know, but I tell you, I don't know how people do it without air conditioning. Before this, where I have my studio, the first studio I had, you couldn't even operate without air conditioning. We had to get it in even before we had the installation and just to run it. But it does get very hot here, and it's not as muggy as it is where I used to live, but it does get hot.
Well, that's the traditional picture of the South, isn't it? New Orleans, somebody sitting on the porch and just
I
rocking.
hey I hey, I've done that before. If you have a couch and a fan on the outside in your porch, then you're in the South. It's status quo here.
Yeah. Not good for the work ethic. Talking about work ethics, um, we get lots of plays from the Donald of how he's succeeding. Now, he appears to have got an accord, let's call it that. Not an agreement fully, but we're working towards that this coming Friday. Is this the poker game or is it reality?
Well, I had a chance, Rodney, to see Donald Trump negotiate firsthand several times. Of course, most of this was before he became president of the United States, so it wasn't as much of a stake as it was. But when I did see Donald Trump negotiate personally, it's interesting. A lot of people think because you saw him at the time on TV that he has one thing that he wants and he doesn't break from it. It's not like that. I've seen him negotiate before, and what I've seen of it is that he comes in with something. If someone wants to counter or it's different, I mean, he wrote the art of the deal, which means that it's a deal. It's basically he comes in with what he wants, and then they ask for what they want, and then they find some way to make it happen. But this whole thing where we've seen it firsthand in America, and the left has a very nasty word for it, taco. Trump always chickens out, which is a horrible phrase there. But that's part of negotiation. He comes in with what he wants, and then someone else comes and says, nope, I'm not going to do that. And then they discuss it. And we got what we wanted, or at least the United States and Trump got what he wanted out of the deal. If it all gets signed, is no nuclear weapons.
Well, it's very tough dealing with the Arabs. Everybody says the same thing. That's all right. They can be tough dealers. It's part of the game. But when you stack that against all the other odds of Islam and the religion it is, it's almost impossible. I mean, can you trust the people?
Well, one of the things that we have to remember here is not United States and Israel versus the Muslim nations. Donald Trump has allies. The United States has allies there. Saudi Arabia, another one, United Arab Emirates, Qatar. These are all other nations here that are in some ways aligned with Donald Trump in this. So this isn't just United States and Israel in a little box, and then the rest of the countries in another box. Everyone wants stability there in the Middle East, and in order to do that, it looks like they've come to an agreement, and obviously we hope it sticks. But looks like Donald Trump is holding back the money rather than giving it up front. And this is not just free money. These are the monies that they sanctioned from them in the first place. And so we'll see how it works out. But at least on our side in the Americas, I think there, other than the media, who is trying to paint it as a loss for Trump, this is what he wanted out of the deal. And we want the Strait open. We want oil flowing back again.
Okay, well, he's at G7 at the moment, whispering sweet nothings into the ear of Sir Keir Starmer. One of the things we know he's going to say, and maybe has said it already, you've got to stand on your own 2 feet and get your forces, Army, Navy, and Air Force, properly funded. He's right.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at what America is doing with our military, and it goes back to the NATO countries there, just NATO in particular. Donald Trump wanted cooperation, and a lot of it didn't even include skin in the game, other than letting our United States military use their airspace. But we'll see how Donald Trump deals with that later. But hopefully everything's going well there at the G7.
Yeah, we mentioned the sun, the heat, the time of the year. Now, politics is pretty diversified in the States and in the United Kingdom. Sharp edges, do they soften during the summer or not?
No, you know what? We've had this discussion, Dave Blaze and I, over at George Magazine. What we found here is America wants to return to some sort of normalcy. We've seen the America 250, the MMA fights at the White House. We are big baseball fans here. The Knicks just won their championship. It does seem like America wants to, especially in the summertime, return to some sort of normalcy of where we were. Remember, we had the COVID thing, and even before that, America was at a fever pitch for going to rallies and so forth. But with the summer, and I think it's perfect timing, if all of this with the peace deal goes very well, America really wants to return to a time period of just normalcy. American families spending time together.
Well, thinks back to the halcyon days of the 50s and the big Cadillac with the big fins at the back and the 2.4 children and mum at home, dad going out to work. We've gone away from that, started at the 60s, the alternative method. We're not in a good place compared with that, are we?
Well, where we are with George Magazine, many of our readership is very nostalgic for that day. In fact, we had a commercial showing those big fins on the cars, the diners, and the little jukebox that you put a quarter in to play some songs. We feel like with America, there's a lot of people wanting to return to that type of days. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I just think that that's what America wants. And not to say that they're not involved in politics. That's not the case at all. But with this, I think that the days of the divisive politics and the rallies, even though I'm still a Trump supporter, many of my neighbors are Trump supporters, but they just don't go around anymore like wearing the MAGA gear. It doesn't mean that they don't support Trump anymore. They do, but it's just a return to a little bit of a normalcy and family and friends and spending time grilling out food in the backyard.
We've still got American diners, would you believe, here in Spain. And I love them. They're fantastic. They're most unhealthy, but they're great food.
I haven't seen one in a long time. We used to have one back in Myrtle Beach. They call it they call it the 222. So it was like two eggs, two pancakes, and two bacons for like $2, and it was just like that's where that's where you went on a Saturday night at the end of the night. Go there to have breakfast. So that's how we did it.
The other criticism of this kind of a diet is the soda, the Coca-Cola, the Pepsi Cola. It's not good for you, even in zero form, actually, because all they do is replace the sugar with chemicals.
I tell you what, most of the time nowadays, I drink water, and it's water from my well. It's an artesian well, so it goes down below the table rock. But it is funny that I probably stopped drinking a lot of the sodas a while back ago. But I tell you what, every once in a while, you still need a hamburger and a Coke. So it's all
There's
good.
no substitute. Listen, do you have to test that water from your well regularly?
Yeah, it does. The water here does get tested, but we have a bonus here. The Hot Springs National Park is famed for their water. In fact, when Bill Clinton was president of the United States, he used to have this water shipped in. It's just amazing water, and it's from the hot springs in Arkansas. So where I live here, it actually goes from there underground all the way to my house, and we tapped into it. It is the finest water I believe in the world. It's famed for its properties and its minerals. It's wonderful.
Is it hard water or soft water? Do you have the difference?
No, it does. I'm used to it. It has a no smell to it, and I'm sure it does have a higher mineral content. But this is our well is a little different because it does. It's an artesian well, which I believe it means it goes under the first layer where most people pump it from through a rock bed, and so it's as clean. It's as clean water as you could get. And I think America needs more of that. Uh, to be truthful, we won't even drink out of a plastic bottle anymore. Everything is put in a glass bottle. So it's one of those things where, going back to the olden days when I remember my aunt got her milk delivered to her in glass bottles. So it's kind of like that.
That's good stuff. Listen, the ladies are taking center stage, especially Melania. She seems to be chatting up Putin, but she's getting away with it, isn't she?
Well, Melania Trump, and I remember her first time when she was the first lady the first time. She has taken a very active role. I think one of the reasons is I remember when the first time she was still raising Barron with, he was just a teenager at the time. I don't know his age now, but he's in college. But with this, she's spending a lot of time. Now, one of the things she's doing is she's working with the First Lady of Ukraine because there were some children that were removed from the parents and brought into Russia. And the First Lady is working very hard. She's a real save the children person in action here. So it's wonderful to see. America is very proud of our First Lady, and it's inspirational because she's actually doing something.
That's great, but one can think of the horrors here. Are they not content with just killing the opposition, the Russian soldiers? They have to steal their children.
This is one of the saddest things, and these are not my opinions. These are the opinions of the First Lady, and these are the opinions of documented, especially from Ukraine. It is a sad situation all around with all this stuff. But one of the things that America needs to do, especially the MAGA podcasters or the so-called MAGA podcasters, they spent the last 4 years like literally saying, let's save the children, let's save the children, all these things. But here's your opportunity. And when the First Lady had an opportunity, that's what she's doing. She's actually working with that. She's working to help foster children. She's doing a lot with this. And so one of the things we've been talking about is actually telling people about these things rather than just sit behind the computer and say save the children, a very, very plain and generic save the children. Of course we want to do that, but look at what Melania Trump is doing. She's actually taking action with this.
Does the UN come into this at all? Do they help or do they hinder?
We had a video that went viral from George Magazine, and we asked people to share it. And I can't remember who it was. I think it was a UN council, but don't quote me on that. But Russia was cited for crimes against humanity. These are real things. They're crimes against humanity. One of the if there is a ceasefire, one of the things on the table was that Russia would be free of war crimes, that there would not be something there. But these are real things going on. These are war crimes are very serious things. And so these are not my opinions, but it is they have been actually sanctioned for that. And so these are the things going on that really, quite frankly, very few in the MAGA Nation podcasters are speaking about this. And so it makes you wonder why. Are some of these taking money from Russia, which it would be illegal in the United States? But are they doing that? I said it before, Rodney. If you have 100% of the podcasters, 100% of the podcasters is not on the take with Russian money doing treason. Basically, it's not 100%, but it's certainly not zero. So all these people you listen to, out of all of them, none of them, absolutely none of them are corrupted by Russia. Zero. I mean, I'm fair. I'm saying it's not 100, but it's certainly not zero.
Nope.
So that's why we tell people be careful who you follow.
Yeah, how do you check out these things? Obviously, I'm fact checking every day, but
I think I think that's the problem. I think that the podcasters that are egregious in doing this either have to be the dumbest person in the world, or they know willingly that they're doing this. And that's up to the FBI to stop this. Is up to the Treasury Department here to sanction them. But for us, we've been trying to tell people, stop sharing lies. Just stop sharing it. And you'd be better off not sharing anything. But people add fuel to the fire. And the thing is, just do your cursory check. Most of these can be debunked within, seriously, like 5 minutes in a simple search. So anyway, we're trying to tell people, stop sharing this.
Yeah, yeah. One of the first things that Donald Trump did when he came for his second term was to give $1,000 to every young entrepreneur from age 0 upwards. And
Right.
what a good idea. I mean, it teaches lots of things, that. But some people are saying, well, hang on, how tied in is it? Can they suddenly at age 10 spend the $1,000 and take it and run?
Right. It's designed very similar to in the United States we have an IRA account, individual retirement account. It's very simple. It's very similar to that, where if you have an IRA, you can put your money that you make there, and the taxes are deferred or however it is, and then you can pick it up later on when you retire, which is a wonderful thing. But what's going on here is, as children are born, it's a pre-IRA, so to speak, where the government puts in or $1,000, I believe. Other Intel computers, I think they put some money into. Parents can put it in. I think there's a tax savings, so that when they turn 18, they could use that for either schooling or, quite frankly, I believe you're allowed to use it as an apartment. And it's a forced savings account that for these children. Now, granted, in America, a lot of parents already do this for their children. That's how they do it. But this one is a way for everyone to get a head start. And I believe right now it's available to all children, but the $1,000 that the government gives is only for newborns. I think, I'm not sure, up to 1 year old, 2 years old. But it's a great program.
Yeah, it is. But the foster children have been losing out, haven't they? Especially in
Right. Yes. Yes, the foster children, of course, lost out on that. They get caught up into the system, but that's what Melania Trump has done. She has she has made the same program similar, but for all older children, foster care children, so people can donate to them. And most likely, what's going to happen, because right now it's unfunded, the American businesses will have to step up and then say that they want to donate to it. And I believe it will happen with Melania's leadership, because what she's going to do is she's going to invite some people into the White House, just like Michael Dell, and say, hey, this is one of the things. Do you think your business could fund this? And this gives foster children a heads up once they turn 18. It's an amazing thing that's going on in America.
That's great. What's not so great is the biolab scandal. I mean, basically, it plays into the hands of the unscrupulous podcaster. And, you think, golly, what is really happening when laboratories are set up throughout Europe? And one thinks to China and Wuhan and what escaped there. But is it just circumstantial?
Okay. In particular, biolabs are all over the United States as well. Biolabs doesn't necessarily mean bioweapons. And that's the confusion that we get in Ukraine. Does Ukraine have biolabs? I am sure they do. It's actually, everyone knows about it. The thing is, are they bioweapon labs? That's the difference. And what it's pointing to is not. There's nothing that's, you go to the hospital here, I'm sure you have a biolab. But when people take this and run with it in a viral sense to either get clicks or for propaganda's sake, it sounds very scary. I mean, that would be like me saying, guys, you don't go into Hot Springs, Arkansas. There's biolabs here. No, it's what's they're in the hospital, and there it's a biology lab, but it doesn't mean it's a bioweapons lab or they're creating diseases to spread them out. It's another one of those, Rodney, another one of those viral things that get a lot of clicks.
Yeah, yeah. I mentioned China, thinking of what happened, obviously, in 2021. Have they got away with it, Gene? They be more accountable?
You know what? It's been a while since I really looked into all of that stuff in America, and I know that right now it just seems that it's trying to do a reemergence of all this stuff with COVID and everything. I will tell you, the vast majority of American people, they have turned the page on that. It was a dark time in our history. Maybe no one's fault or whatever, but a lot of people died. It almost tried to come back in a different form. I forgot what the rat disease or whatever that was people were talking about. But that was a time period no one really, it wasn't a good time for America at all. And most of the people that I know of are moved way, way past it. But it's one of those things that always gets unburied again during a political season, because it's like, okay, well, whose fault was it? Was it this person's fault or this country's fault? But for the most part, I think America has moved on from it.
I know a lot of people were podcasting during the time, and I'm sure you do. And they were, by various governments around the world, put down. Oh, this is sensationalist and ivermectin. Who takes that? Well, allegedly, Donald Trump took that. Allegedly, our Prime Minister Boris Johnson took that. Now, is the truth coming out slowly?
Well, you know what, it goes back to that. Once again, this was a very strange time. Uh, you had basically some people took the best of what we're supposed to do. We've always said this before. You go to the doctor and you get a second opinion, and sometimes you get a third opinion, and then you go from there. We went from that to a total distrust of all things medical. And I'm not saying that some of it wasn't justified or some of it wasn't necessary. All I'm saying is it was a bizarre time, because on one hand, you had all the doctors saying, okay, everyone wear masks, even though it doesn't all help. They're not N95 masks. You went to the grocery store and then a plastic sheet right in front of you, like the germs can't go around it. So you had that crazy, like too much. And then you had on the right another set, whereas like, let's forget all doctors. All doctors are evil. All doctors are bad. Never go to a doctor. Never trust anything. And we went from that. What we hope and what I think is going on in America is just a return to basic normalcy. Where do I trust everything the doctor says? Absolutely not. If I don't like it, I'll ask another doctor. But it's not like they're worthless. And it went from a time period where it was everything that the medical community said was being challenged. And it's probably halfway between them because it was crazy stuff on both ends.
Why I'm mentioning this, there's Senator Ron Johnson that has been speaking out about what happened in 2021. And he reckons, and others that support him, that they have got the facts now of how many people following a jab suffered a heart attack or a stroke. And looking at the graphs, it's difficult to say, oh no, you're talking rubbish.
Again, you had. I remember living through it where you had all these sports stars suddenly dying from these things. I had a, um, I had a friend of mine who's a professional bodybuilder at the time, and he went most of his life taking steroids. It was just a thing for professional bodybuilders. But he says like now his blood is very he needs to take blood thinners because his blood was uh, um, was very much like clotting. So when it comes to all of this thing, people that took the jab and people that didn't, who knows? My point with this is it was a time period that I lived through, and many Americans in the world lived through it. It was bizarre. It was the medical community coming out with the most bizarre things like ever, like with a mask. I mean, like the rules, people were just covering it with whatever. And then on the other hand, you had many people on the far right just have like curing whatever, basically illegally prescribing medications on their own to other people, saying, okay, you have COVID, okay, you need to do this, this, and this. And it was like with no medical degree or anything. So I think what we have in America, even with Senator Johnson, let's just get back to normalcy, see how studies go, and let certain professionals figure it out of what happened and why. But again, it's coming back into the forefront because we are in an election year. And in election year, people want to drag up old things.
Yeah.
And that's just what happens.
Finally, Gene, let's think about the dollar. Let's think about Bitcoin. Let's think about gold, which is right on top there. It's only got one way to go. The BRIC countries, the Chinas, the Indias, the Russians, are buying gold as though it's going out of fashion. Are they backing the wrong horse?
Well, you have to remember with the BRICS dollar, the United States dollar is very strong now because they're in a war. I forgot what it was. I think a month ago, some of these countries which have hoarded gold before are unloading it. In fact, India just had one of the BRICS countries. India just had a tariff against the importing of gold because the country has to take that and get US dollars from it. So they wanted to slow it up. So it was before this a massive buy-in with gold. And of course, you see the price of it gone up. But there are countries right now are taking some profit taken since they bought it at whatever and it's sky high. So you actually had some countries selling their gold off for United States dollars.
Golly, it's whatever you go. I mean, people say Bitcoin, oh, stay clear of it, or only put maximum 5% of your wealth into it because it's little better than gambling. But you could say that about gold now, about silver, indeed.
Well, one of the things happening in America, and it's almost through Congress, is the Clarity Act. And the Clarity Act is going to get a lot of stability because with a lot of the cryptocurrencies, it's going to be pegged by the stable coin, which is pegged to the United States dollar. So a lot of it is a lot of things are going on in the country with Bitcoin, with gold, but I think it's going to be all stabilized because one of the things that Bitcoin was used for was the black market oil, and the FBI seized a lot of that. I think 8 billion, I think 8 billion in Bitcoins, I think it was, just in Thailand. And this was all illicit money. That's how they did trades with other countries when they had sanctions on the US dollar. So we'll see how it all comes to play, where it all settles in. But what with this Clarity Act, while the American dollar is not going to be changed, it's just going to be strengthened. But you have all these other aspects with the stable coins, with the crypto, and I think it's going to go all settle in very soon.
Yeah, with oil falling to $82 a barrel, that is great. Let's hope nothing upsets that with the
Yeah,
Iran.
I agree with that. I definitely do.
Right, we finish on a note of agreement. Thanks so much, Gene. We'll see you next
Rodney,
week.
thank you so much.